Say more money, more problems. That's when we don't got 'em. You must be on a different page.
What's up? The boys are back in the building. We are here for week 10. We had a great week 9 last week. We have the one and only Alpha Dog Bets, Dead Press Picks, and Boston's boy, Sammy Adams. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you to Bookmakers Review. Check them out at their website, bookmakersreview.com. Please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Every single description is going to have amazing NFL content. Again, that's bookmakersreview.com. All right, let's get into last week's slate. I'll start with Sammy Adams. Last week on Thursday night, we had the Jets and the Colts. The Colts kind of took it. Their offense was on fire. They bounced. They dropped 45 points last Thursday night. Were you able to watch this game?
I was able to watch the game. I know the Jets are riding high, and I just thought it was a big smackdown coming. So even though I teased it, I also played it. I think the spread was -12. So I played both. But it shows you, it's like Mike White had, like I said last week, like the beginner's luck. And then once you face a better D, and dudes, like Naeem, whatever his name is, everyone was going off. All the dudes that went off were on my fantasy bench.
True. I do want to expound on Mike White a little bit. Dead Press, you had the over on his passing yards. He was on fire that first drive. I believe he accumulated 95 yards in that first drive, and then he hurt his finger or his wrist or whatever. It's still a phantom injury for me. But Dead Press, how are you gonna look at the Jets and the QB situation moving forward?
Yeah, that was definitely tough, AC, because he had 95 in the first quarter. So I think that would have flown over the 250 fairly easy because his backup comes in, Johnson comes in and throws for 317. So the game was kind of a perfect favor for that over for a quarterback because it was a blowout. That was kind of how I saw that. Moving forward, though, I'm a little surprised that, it sounds like they're going to go with White over Wilson just because Wilson was your top pick right now. I know they're saying injuries playing into that decision a little bit, but I think you're the Jets. You let Wilson take the losses right now and the experience, but it's an interesting situation that White's kind of came on the scene and he balled out his first game and he was playing really well until his injury. It was a tie game before he went out, so we'll have to see how that plays out in New York.
I also thought that was like an interesting thing. Just the fact that they're just going to go back on the dude that literally won probably the biggest game of the year. And, just it's a full regression for me.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Alpha Dog Bets, I'm a big Joey B fan. But the last couple weeks, he's had some really bad turnovers, really bad interceptions. They were at home last week against the Browns, and Baker kind of took it to him, 41-16. Are you worried about Joey B and the Bengals as the season goes on?
I would be worried for Joey B and the Bengals for this season. I don't exactly think they're primed to make a huge run this year. They've looked a lot better. They had a great start to the year, but it's been a little concerning with Joey B. He's having his sophomore slump a little bit, having a little bit of struggles, but I think he gets that corrected towards the end of the year, and I think he'll be a great quarterback for years to come. But this year, I do think that they're going to struggle to get in and make a run in the playoffs.
All right, Dead Press Picks. Let's do a few more games before we dive into this week's slate. I do want to get to our amazing guest today. We do have Joe Fann on the line. He's waiting right now, so let's get to him as quick as possible. Let's talk about the Bills. What a dud they laid last week.
Dud.
Yeah, what a dud. It was 6-9. Let's talk about that game, and then we'll go straight to Joe.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Probably the upset of the year, right? As the Bills were
By far.
a massive
By
favorite.
far.
I believe they closed at like 14.5. Pretty crazy game, guys, because it was one of those games where you thought maybe the Jags would have to score a ton to beat them. They scored 9 points. So, I mean, it was just absurd that the Bills couldn't get in the end zone against that Jaguar defense. I mean, it was by far, the biggest upset. The Josh Allen on Josh Allen crime was a funny storyline as well. But
Could you imagine? Can you imagine all the Survivor leagues, all the parlays, the teasers that went down this Sunday?
Oh yeah,
my teaser. My
Survivor pool was tough.
I mean, to be honest, I had a 16-leg parlay. Everything hit, and then the bungholes get absolutely drilled in the dog pound.
All right, Alpha Dog Bets, our resident Giants fan. They actually won a game. Congratulations. Let's play a small violin for him. 23-16 at home against the Raiders. Raiders obviously dealing with a ton of off-the-field issues right now, but that was a pretty impressive win, especially by that defense, Alpha.
Yeah, the defense is starting to come around. The Giants defense had a terrible start to the year. It seemed like anyone could throw on them. James Bradbury was getting beat every single time they threw at him, but they're starting to come around a little bit. Sitting at 3-6, it's going to be tough for the Giants to really make any noise this year. And as a Giants fan, it seems like we are always in this position. But it was nice to see the guys get a win this weekend at home to beat a tough Raiders team. And guys, as a Giants fan, I just can't root for them to lose anymore. It's been about 6 years that I've been rooting for draft pick compensation, and I just can't do it anymore. So it's nice to see the Giants win a couple games.
All right, we have a couple other games here. The Chargers, they went into the link. I'm sorry, Dead Prez. But they beat your Eagles 27-24 on the road. Justin Herbert was elite in this game, and Jalen Hurts actually showed a lot of life there, especially in the second half with his legs as well as with his arm. How do you feel about Hurts, the Eagles? Are you guys going to contend for anything soon?
I mean, yeah.
No.
You mentioned how well Hurts played in that game. He beats most teams if it's not Herbert. It's the defense right now has been the issue all season. I thought the Eagles played well enough to win. It was really the only super square public play that won this week. So I'm pretty sure the Chargers were the most popular bet of the week, and they ultimately ended up winning. I believe that line opened at 3, if I'm not mistaken, or 2.5. It ended up closing as pretty much a pick 'em. So yeah, it was actually a really entertaining game both ways. Philly was close, a couple plays off, but the defense has just been brutal all season, and it burned us there.
All right, let's touch on 2 more games here. The next one, I'll do a little analysis on it, but the Packers and the Chiefs, this was supposed to be the game of the week. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, 2 crazy offenses, 2 amazing transcendent talent at quarterback. But instead, we get Jordan Love and a crazy comeback at the end for the spread to cover it. They hit a Alan Lazard touchdown with minutes left, and they lost on the road.
On fourth down to get to the
on fourth down. The Chiefs won. The Chiefs won 13-7 at home in Kansas City. I still think they have a terrible defense, but they only gave up 7 against the Packers. Honestly, what really impressed me in that game was the Packers defense. I'll start with Sammy here. Did you have any action on this game, and were you asleep by the third quarter?
I didn't touch anything. I had a little side conversation with my mans right here, and I think we both went under, even though it wasn't on our cards. But it's crazy because Mahomes was going, 50 plus points just for his team, and I think when you you're getting Kelsey back week 2. I think they're starting to find their groove again. If these low numbers keep on popping out, I think the Chiefs, as long as it's a reasonable line, if it's like 9.5, if you're up a touchdown, you're sweating the rest of the game. So I don't really know. I honestly think that the Packers D played insane, and the new quarterback for the Packers did not. So it says a lot about the D. Who knows where this COVID protocol is going to end up? But
yeah,
I think it was an impressive 2-minute drill for them to actually hit the back door.
For sure. I mean, the Chiefs right now, they're sitting 5-4. If you're looking at the rest of their season, they do have a pretty tough schedule, right? They play the Raiders twice, which is easier now. They play the Broncos twice, which is, it's never easy to beat a team twice. They have the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Bengals. So it is a really tough schedule to kind of end out the season there. Alpha Dog Bets, go ahead and close us out on last week's slate on Monday Night Football. We had the Steelers, who are covering for 90% of the game. They muff a punt, they give up that fumble, and they lose the cover there. Did you have any action on this one?
I did. I had a teaser with that one where I had the Steelers winning outright, and I had the under teased up, which was killed on that muffed fumble recovered for a touchdown. So that one was a little frustrating in that one. That one looked like it was going to sail to an easy win. But it was a little bit of a sloppy game. Big Ben made some plays. Yeah. Naji Harris was Naji Harris, who's a monster this year. He's the focal point of that offense. But, man, the Pittsburgh Steelers are just not that great of a football team on the offensive side. They won the game. They got the job done. But this is definitely Ben's farewell tour. They have a lot of weapons, and they're not able to fully utilize the weapons on the outside. So I'm excited to see what can happen when they start getting some better players in there.
What did I say week 2? I was like, once Naji starts hitting those licks, he is going to go off.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's great because, like I said, Big Ben, could run a 40 in the time that like a Kenyan dude in Boston runs a marathon. So, it's wild. And
you're right. Naji is such a hard runner too. He's always turning his legs, especially in contact. So it's hard to bring him down. I agree with that. Let's go ahead and move to this week's slate, y'all. We do have an amazing guest for us right now. We have Joe Fann. So everybody, big clap for Joe Fann. Thank you again for jumping on the show. Wizard, let's go ahead and there you go. All right, first game of the night tonight. Joe Fann, tell us about the Ravens and Dolphins. I believe it's like a -8, -8.5 right now. What side would you lean and why?
Yeah, I mean, the square play is to make it the start of your teaser card and go into the weekend with an easy win. It should be an easy win for Baltimore. I'm not sold on Baltimore being a flawless team in the AFC. I think you saw that when they got smoked by the Bengals a couple weeks back. Lamar's got to play his best day, his best game for this team to have a chance to win. That's why he's the MVP in my book. There's no player that's more accountable for his team's success than him. He is their running game. He's obviously their passing game. He continues to take strides as a passer. I don't like the hook here. This feels like it's got backdoor cover written all over it. I would never get myself to put any money that I worked hard for on the Dolphins. And so if you have to play a side, I'd rather just play the better team and you hope you don't get backdoored by the Dolphins. But for me, I'm fine going with the square play. With Baltimore a teaser, and then potentially throwing down on like a Lamar Jackson rushing yards prop.
One interesting tidbit here: Lamar Jackson did grow up in the Miami area, so I think he was only like 45-50 minutes away from the stadium. The last time he played in Miami, he dropped 5 touchdowns on their head. So just a little, just some facts there. Maybe he's going to try to show out in front of his friends and family again tonight. Sorry, Sammy, for cutting you off. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. I was going to say, instead of laying the juice or the extra points on -7, would you rather go over on Lamar rush yards?
Yeah, I like that prop, certainly. I mean, it's such a safe bet. When the guy's got the ball in his hands, I mean, obviously any quarterback does. But again, you talk about the usage in the running game, both in design runs and then when plays break down, he can kill you there as well. And so that's always going to be a safe over bet, just because, he's never going to have a dud where he just doesn't run the football. It's always going to be a part of their game plan. And so to me, I would feel more comfortable playing that than I would, again, laying the points in the Thursday game. Thursday games are always weird, man. Things get screwy. And so I got faith that Baltimore will cover, but, again, it's either teaser or bust for me.
For those who don't know, Joe does work very closely with the Seattle Seahawks organization. We're going to get to that Seattle-Green Bay game later today, and he'll also give us, his outlook on the rest of their season moving forward. But I do want to go ahead and move to the next game here. It's the Browns against the Patriots. Sammy, this is your team. New England is doing their thing. Mac Jones is in full stride as a very competent quarterback there. Give me your play here. There's two really good teams.
I mean, this is kind of a toss up because Joey B looked great the first 2-3 games, and then last week was just. I mean, I'm obviously still reeling over the fact that I lost. I put 15 on a 16-team parlay, and this guy just doo-doos the bed. So for me, I don't know. I don't know how to take the Browns because the Patriots D has been pretty rock solid, like minus a couple games. There's a lot of people like online and on like the review books, and they all think that like Nick Chubb's just going to tear them apart. But it's like you forget that Bill Belichick's on the other side, and we have a solid defense. And people are still sleeping on Mac Jones. I don't understand it. He threw a terrible interception last week, but these dudes are rolling. And I think, I take back what I said week 2 about like we might not even make the playoffs. So hopefully Bill Belichick doesn't watch any of this because I will get cut off of the speed dial.
Nice. Yeah, I think Chubb right now is currently in COVID protocols.
Correct.
I'm not sure if he's 100% playing, but he's also not ruled out yet. So that's a good call there, Sammy. Let's go ahead and move to the next game. Alpha Dog Bets. We have the Falcons traveling to my Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys just laid a dud against the Broncos last week. It was a bigger blowout than that final score really entails. But do you like Dallas or do you like Atlanta here?
To make this one simple, Dallas in a comeback game. I think Dallas is going to absolutely mop the floor with Atlanta this week, and I think defensively Dallas is going to get it right and on the offensive side of the ball. Matt Ryan has the finger issue. I don't know how bad it is, but either way, they don't have too many weapons. Cordero Patterson has been absolutely unbelievable this year. He surprised me being a Swiss Army knife for that team. But I really think Dallas makes a statement this week, and I am taking them as one of my favorite plays of the week with the 9 points. I do think they get it done in a statement win because there's a lot of questions right now if this team is for real after last week's showing, and I think they will make that shown this week.
That's a little foreshadowing to actually one of our questions later in the show. So good job there, Alpha. Dead Press Picks. Let's get to this next game. We have Buffalo, laying a dud last week as well, going to the Jets. Mike White now is QB1 for the New York Jets. What is your play here? Do you have any angles here, Dead Press?
Yeah, my angle in this one would be similar to Dallas, bounce back spot for Buffalo. I like their team total over 30.5. I think they score a ton of points in this game. Kind of just we saw what the Colts did to them last week, guys, and I think this Bills offense is the best offense still in the NFL when they're right. They came in last week as that, despite kind of laying an edge against Jacksonville. So I think it's a really good bounce back spot for Buffalo, 30.5 at minus 105. I think they soar over that number, so I will be taking Buffalo's team total over in this game.
All right, and I'll take this next game here, Wizard. It's going to be the Saints against the Titans. New Orleans is traveling to Tennessee. Tennessee had a very impressive win last week against the Rams. We're going to see, I think, a 3-point spread right now. The Titans are favored. I think the wrong team is favored in this game straight up. Even though Jameis Winston is not playing, even though Phillip Rivers is not coming back, Drew Brees is not coming back, it's still Trevor Siemian. But I like New Orleans to get the job done in this game. I think that was a great we don't have King Henry, and we're just a kitchen sink type game. And I think that's why they beat the Rams. I think they fall back down to earth here with Tennessee. So give me New Orleans and the points +3, and always sprinkle the money line as well for this game. Let's go to the next game here for Sammy Adams. We have the Bucks going to Washington. The Bucks, this is a big spread. I know we don't like big spreads on this game, but the Bucks are 9.5 road favorites against the Washington football team. There's no way you can do Washington here, right, Sammy?
I mean, yeah, this is a tough one because I feel like, everyone thought Brady was going to, blow the brakes off last week, or not this last week, the week before, and they caught a dub. And I'm not really sure. it's always a toss up with Brady and the Bucks for me, because if they blow it wide open in the first half, they tend to just like let the teams back in. So it's a tough spread to, like, like most people that are public, they're going to easily go with Bucks, whatever. They could be 12-14. They'll go with them. But I don't know. I think the Washington football team actually has a great defense and potentially.
All right, let's go ahead and move to the next game. Thanks, Sammy. Let's get to the Seahawks. Let's fast forward a couple games here, Wizard. We're gonna get into the Seahawks and the Packers. This is one of the best rivals in the NFC. I mean, there was like the placement refs a few years ago. There's always, they're always meeting in the playoffs. I'll start with Joe Fann, our big Seattle Seahawks insider. Do you have any good angles or any information on this?
Yeah, so I used to cover the Seahawks. I was there for 2 years for NBC Sports Northwest. I live in Vegas now, working for Wynn Bets, so it's a little bit different of a role. Not necessarily the nitty-gritty, daily grind of the beat reporting, but it's a team I know well. Obviously, I grew up in Seattle, and so been around this organization for a long time. They're in a weird spot. There is a ton of pressure on this team, not just to make the playoffs, but to make a run in the postseason. We know how upset Russell Wilson was during the offseason, potentially seeking out a trade. And that could potentially happen this next offseason as well if he doesn't see that this team is headed in the right direction. He's been out for a couple of weeks, and now you look at this team with getting him back. They were hoping to get Odell, at least a lot of fans were. They obviously didn't do that, but I do think it's a huge game for them. At 3-5, every game is crucial for a wild card spot. They don't have a chance to win the division. The Cardinals and Rams are going to run away from them. But with the Falcons at 4-4 in front of them, that's certainly attainable. And I think their odds now to make the playoffs as that second wild card spot is okay. Now, I don't know if I love them to win, but I do like the juice, them getting more than the field goal. I like them getting those points, and I would think they could cover that. To me, I'm going to stay away from this one just because I want to see what Russell Wilson looks like coming back from the finger. Everything we've seen, he's cleared. He's 100% healthy. He's full go. Russell Wilson's a magical healer. It's pretty ridiculous that this guy's already back. No glove, no bandage. Says everything we see. He looks good in practice, all of that. But I want to see it first. He's never won at Lambeau Field. This is a huge game for them again. Their offense has been super hit and miss. It's not a very balanced passing game. It's DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, or bust. They haven't done a good enough job of getting their tight ends involved. And I think everyone is really taking notice. This Green Bay defense is top 10 in both yards and scoring. They've been tremendous, notably keeping them in that game against the Chiefs. They only allowed one touchdown to Patrick Mahomes and company, and I'm of the thought that the Chiefs aren't that good. That's still an impressive feat. The Chiefs scored a touchdown on their opening drive and then didn't find the end zone again the rest of the game. They got shut out in the second half. So you tip your cap to Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, and company because they've been tremendous all year. And so for me, I'm going to stay away. I lean Seahawks getting the points because I think Russell Wilson, anytime he's involved in the game, they can keep it close. But I just want to see what he looks like first. Also, that defense that's been better of late, they've been better against bad offenses. So assuming Aaron Rodgers plays, and I anticipate he will play, he doesn't have to take another COVID test. He's going to be 10 days removed from his positive test. So I feel like it's going to be a good one to watch. I don't know if I want any money on it. To me, again, want to talk tease plays. Getting the Seahawks up over a touchdown with a 6-point teaser would be something that makes sense for me as well.
Yeah, just to echo Joe's point here, I agree. So this is a lot of points for the Seattle defense to give up.
Say hi to the live.
What's up, live? Instagram live. Thank you, Sammy, for jumping on the live for us. But Alpha Dog Bets, this is kind of a return of both quarterbacks, right? You hear
Joe Fann on here, first of all. Let's go. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Nice. Yeah, Joe mentioned it, but we're going to have the return of Russell Wilson, but we're also going to have the return, most likely, of Aaron Rodgers here. Alpha, how do you think that's going to change the landscape of this game?
Sorry, guys, my microphone was muted. I think this game is going to play out exactly how Joe kind of said it would. I'm not sure who's going to win this game, but it's going to be a Rodgers versus Wilson game. They're both going to be back in this one. both coming off some significant medical issues. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in this one. I'm definitely laying off and just going to enjoy the game of the week. If I were to take a side on this one, guys, though, I would lean the Packers just because I do believe Aaron Rodgers is what makes that team talk. And I really do think that the game is going to be within a touchdown line. So any teasers, I believe, would be a good play in this game. But I'm not taking anything straight on it.
So he's good to go?
Yeah, we do want to say thank you so much, Joe, for jumping on today. I know you have a hard stop coming up soon, but thank you so much for your insight. Thank you so much for your time. I know the guys here really appreciate it. We'll connect offline. I think what you're doing there at BetWin is amazing, so I appreciate it, man.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate you guys having me on. We can do it again soon. A time where I apologize. I've got a hard out here today, but you guys crush it. Love what you guys do. Following your picks. Happy to tail any of them. But you guys do it better than anybody. So appreciate the insight and having me on, and we'll talk soon.
100%. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll follow you up on Twitters and everything. Let's get it.
All right, Dead Prez, let's get into, I think, the game of the week. It's Kirk Cousins. I know it's Kirk Cousins, but it's the Vikings and the Chargers. It's going to be in Los Angeles. I was almost about to say San Diego there. It's in Los Angeles. Right now, the Chargers are only a 3-point favorite at home against the Vikings. You know, the whole home and away thing usually is a 3-point thing. So maybe books are expecting this to be a pick'em type game and a neutral site. But who do you like in this game, and how do you see this game going?
Yeah, we've talked about it before, AC, with the Chargers. I don't know if books really give them much of a home field advantage because it's normally not as much. So I think that this is actually the true line. I can't back the Vikings right now, guys. I know last week they looked a little better against the Ravens, but they almost blew that cover. Like, they were very close to covering that game. I believe you guys were on them. So, I'm not trusting the Vikings right now. Chargers defense has struggled a little bit of late. Again, last week, Philly kind of lit them up. And, we're not a great offense, and they were able to run all over them last week. So the question mark also, surrounding the Vikings, they had a little bit off the field issue this week with Dalvin Cook. It sounds like he'll be good to go, but you want to kind of stay posted on that as well. I do like the Chargers in this spot. It's not a game I touched. I think it's going to be a tough line, but I would lean with the Chargers here.
Over. Okay, over. What do you think, Sammy? I know Herbert is your Oregon Duck compadre there. Do you think he just rolls this week?
Yeah, Herbert might be a little mad that I'm wearing the OG Isaac Nauta jersey.
Nice.
Which I was handed in a bar. I had to all the girls that want to talk to me. But I think honestly, after the Vikings were up almost 17, they missed a field goal, and letting Ravens back in the game, it comes down to, like, your kicker's not great, and we have Justin Tucker. So I thought that Lamar showed a lot of character because, he's down 14 points. There's 10 minutes left. He had a turnover, and then that's when I thought the game was over. And he fought through it, and they got the dub. And I think the big part of this Ravens team is they're getting that, like, inner locker room and on the field.
Sammy, you bring up such a good point because in the beginning of Lamar's career, he was a guy who really couldn't come back from deficits, right? His team is more of a front running, let's run the ball, let's smash the mouth, let's get up 7-0, 14-0, and then milk the rest of the way down. But this game here, like Sammy alluded to, they came back from a big deficit on the road. So that was a very good performance there by Lamar Jackson. I want to get into this game with Alpha Dog and Dead Prez picks. I'll start with Alpha first, but we have the Eagles traveling to Denver. Teddy Two Gloves covers there. Right now it is a 2.5-point favorite for the Broncos. Jalen Hurts showed some life there in the second half. How are you going to cap this game?
Well, guys, as you know, I'm not too big of a fan of Philly this year. No offense, Dead Prez, my good friend. Just don't think they're a great team offensively. And I also don't think that the Broncos are going to play as well as they did last week. I think it was a fluke game, kind of a one-off game against the Cowboys. Give me the under, guys. It's sitting at 46 points. I just don't see either of these teams putting up big offensive numbers. I like it staying low. So give me the under 46. But I got to hear what our resident Eagles fan, Dead Prez, has to say about the, what do you say, Bird Gang, Bird Gang?
Live from the link.
I'm with Alpha there. I love the first half under, though. You said full game, so I think both are good.
Yes.
The Broncos definitely had a little bit of a fluke game. I was on the Broncos last week. Did not expect them to win outright, though. Defensively, I do think the Broncos are a pretty good defensive team, but offensively, they play slow. They're not very dynamic. Like they're not going to hit you with a lot of big plays. And neither are the Eagles. So I think it'll be a good pace for that first half under at 21.5. As far as the side goes, it could be a really big letdown spot for the Broncos after that win, not coming back home.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, I would honestly, I wouldn't touch a side in this game, but I do like the under.
I think the most interesting part of the first half of that game was the biggest touchdown was a dude that was on waiver wires for 4 of my fantasy teams, Patrick. And like, I don't know, to be honest, like Teddy has the vision to do that, but against a good like pass rush, he looks absolutely lost. So it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles can get in, sack him, kind of scare him a little bit, like get him off, get him out of his whole comfort zone. But I think this one is definitely going to be close as well.
Yeah, that game, Denver against the Cowboys, was a little weird. I mean, what really opened up their passing game was actually getting 4 to 5 yards every single time they handed the ball off. Dallas's front line is super soft. I think the Eagles' front line is better, so that should give Denver a little more problems there. But I agree with everyone here. It's hard to pick a side on this one. The under first half probably seems pretty good, and I think Dad is probably doing the first half because he saw how well Jalen played the second half of the previous game, so he's kind of staying away from that. Let's get into Sunday night football. We do have an AFC West premier matchup right here. We have Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes traveling to Vegas and that beautiful new stadium to play Derek Carr. Mahomes right now, or the Chiefs, are 2.5-point favorites on the road. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I like the Raiders, which is weird. I know they're dealing with a lot of weird stuff, a lot of bad stuff off the field, but I do like the Raiders to cover that 2.5 points and win the game outright. I just think, it's hard to play in that stadium, and it's going to be a night crowd. So those folks and those people in the stands are going to be drinking all day long. The energy is going to be nuts in the stadium. And you guys know how I feel about Kansas City's defense. I think they're super soft. They basically got a bye week last week playing Jordan Love. I don't think it's going to be the same this week. I think Vegas is going to really take it to them. Alpha Dog Bets, how do you feel?
I see it the same way you do, man. And great call saying about the energy and the environment. Most people know this. Analytics Capper was at the first Raiders game this year, so he does have some experience in that environment, knows exactly what a primetime game is going to look like. And I think the Raiders throw it all over them.
15K parlay that night. So
that was a nice night. That was a good night.
He did.
Let's not leave that out.
He did hit that. But I do think the Raiders get this done, like Analytics Capper said. I'm actually taking the money line straight up at a plus 125. I don't want the points. I think it's a huge letdown game from the Chiefs, and I think this will be the last week that the Chiefs get a favored line like this in this kind of matchup.
So here's the only thing with this matchup is, I think a lot of the juice and a lot of the line goes towards who's home, who's away. I think the Chiefs have to prove that they're not, Swiss cheese. That's a lot of work to do during the week. But I don't know. It's like I used to say it's always impossible to bet against the Chiefs, but I don't know. I can't pick a side here. I don't think I'm going to touch this game, but but I'm not mad at both of your rundowns of the Raiders have things to figure out. There's a couple off the field things that are definitely trying and tough, especially with Gruden, to add on to it. But I feel like this will be a closer game, and I also do think the Raiders pull it out.
All right, cool. Let's end it on Monday Night Football. We'll have all four of us, give our 2 cents on this game. It's the Rams traveling to the San Francisco 49ers and NFC West showdown. The Rams right now are a 4-point favorite. Just some news, just a couple hours ago, they did pick up Odell Beckham Jr. I doubt he's going to play in this first game, but I think Von Miller might be playing. So Von Miller was recently just picked up as well. They are kind of just picking up all these gems and getting a super team together. One thing I will caution is that rarely works out in the NFL. You had the 09 Pats, who picked up all those guys and actually lost to the Jets in the wild card. I remember growing up, the football team, when Daniel Snyder first bought the team, he brought over everybody, Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders, everybody, and they made the playoffs, lost in the first round. So definitely err on the side of caution if you're doing all these future bets with the Rams. But for this game in particular, the Niners they were terrible last week. I think everybody liked the Niners, because Kyler was out, DeAndre Hopkins was out, Colt McCoy was playing, and Colt McCoy picked this team apart. I don't know how that happened. Obviously, I didn't watch it because I didn't have any action on this game. But man, the Rams are going to be super public Monday night. I don't know if I can back that either. Maybe the over. Maybe we'll see a ton of points on Monday Night Football. Dead Prez, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think this is a good bounce back spot, guys, for the Rams after they kind of got embarrassed a bit, at home against the Titans. It was a crazy Sunday, so it was right, on par to end the day. But, at -4, I just don't think the Niners are any good. I think right now, we're seeing what they are, and, the Rams coming off a tough loss. I mentioned about Kyle Shanahan last week saying that was a big game for him because now his name, finds himself on the hot seat. Which is kind of crazy because I think like 2 years ago, right when they were 13-3, a lot of people were putting him as the hottest young coach in football. But overall, he's 31-39 in his time in San Francisco, and he's only had one winning season so far. So he hasn't been as good as I think some people think. He's been there for 5 years. I just question a lot of what's going on in San Francisco. I think they're missing. Their defensive coordinator now, obviously going to the New York Jets, Robert Saleh, to take over as the head coach. I just have no faith in the 49ers, and I think it'll be an extremely public play, but I do think the Rams are a good play this week.
I'll jump in after you, Dead Prez, and there's not much to say, guys. Analytics Capper and Dead Prez said it beautifully. It's the Rams. I'm not going to put it any other way. I don't care how public it is. The Rams should absolutely mop the floor with this 49ers team. This 49ers team has shown me absolutely nothing, and they're exactly where I thought they'd be all year. They're the last spot in their division. I think they'll finish there as well. So give me the Rams by the points. I think they win by double digits. It's not even going to be a game. The amount of energy and hype they have right now, they're going to be playing with all that, the passion. They're going to run away with this one.
Sammy Adams,
what's your take?
is it Treyway time, or are you gonna stick it with Jimmy G?
I don't understand why they keep trotting Jimmy G out to the field when you have such a young quarterback who's been absolutely making plays. He's scoring rushing touchdowns. He's running RPO, and it's working. And then we put this guy back in the field because he was the back of Brady. This isn't a Brady Bledsoe situation. So
For sure.
I think the Rams run.
So it looks like we have 3 on the Rams here and 1 not sure with Analytics Capper. Check his page. He may have an update later on in the week, guys. But that ends our weekly analysis. Let's get to the point you guys have all been waiting for, and that's going to our best bets of the week. I'm taking lead this week, guys. I'm coming in off my 3-0 sweep. I'm feeling good. I'm going to try and do it again for you guys. Sammy also had the sweep. But let's get right into it, guys. As I'm sure you guys know, the Rams are one of my plays of the week, -4. Taking the Cowboys. Got it yesterday at 8.5. It's up to 9.5 now, but I still think it's a statement game for the Cowboys. And I know Analytic Capper and a few of you guys were not high on the Titans this week, but I still am. Give me the Titans. Dead Prez, I need to hear your best bets of the week.
Well, it looks like we have a little collab here, Ralph, with the Titans. I do think the Titans stay hot here against the Saints. I can't back Trevor Siemian right now. I don't care, what's going on.
I agree.
They've been too good. They proved me wrong last week. Kind of thought that they would get rolled against the Rams. Didn't seem to miss a beat. Their defense is playing great. Ravens at -7. I locked this in, obviously, guys, a little bit before. Went up to 8.5. So I would honestly advise you stay off of that 8.5. I love the 7, obviously, much more. I think they win by more, but you're not getting the best number now if you're betting it. But I think the Ravens take care of business tonight. Just announced also Tua is out. Don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but it will be Jacoby Brissett tonight for the Dolphins. And then lastly, I'm going to go with Kansas City here at -2.5. I know the whole panel like the Raiders, but I just think the Raiders have too much going on, too many situations. They had another one this week, another guy cut this week. It doesn't stop the season for them. It's been a mess. I do think the Chiefs build a little bit off their last couple wins, although they haven't looked great offensively.
What is there to build?
They're so due. They're gonna bounce back. I don't think Mahomes just woke up one day and started sucking at football. I have too much faith in him that he'll bounce back. I like this Raiders team. I took their preseason team total over 7. They have 5 wins currently. I think they're a good team. I just think there's so much that's going on, guys, that they're playing. It's tough to play right now. Sammy, we'll move on to you.
Yes, sir. So coming off a
Little sweet.
Felt good.
Let's go.
I think the Titans and especially Tannehill is starting. I mean, it's been honestly 8 weeks too late. But picking up a couple big wins just does so much for the locker room and getting them. I teased them with Eagles plus 9.5. It's Titans plus 3.5, Eagles plus 9.5, -130. I think plus points for the Titans is money. Derek is a questionable. Is he out?
Henry?
Yeah.
Henry's out.
He's going to be out for the season. So
He's out.
Playoffs.
So he's out. Sorry, I got it mixed up with someone else. But I think that gives more room for Tannehill to throw to hungry receivers and even just screen passes where they got most of their yardage to get in field goal range. So I'm not mad at the Titans at all. Moving on, Ravens, Dolphins. I'm going under 48 for -120 tonight because I just don't really see the Dolphins scoring that much. The Dolphins are without Devontae Parker. It leaves it all on Jalen Waddle and Mac Hollins. I don't know. It's I feel like these type of joints, you gotta go with the team that's going to score points. I think it'll be 21-3 at halftime, and hopefully the Ravens stop scoring. And then my last pick is teaser Rams plus 2.5, Chargers plus 3.5.
I like it.
At -130. The Chargers are rolling since, Big Bill and the doggy.
I love it. So let's get into my picks. Big props, big shout out to Alpha Dog Bets, who swept the card last week. Big props to Sammy as well, who also swept the card. But the only person who has swept it 3 times is me. I'm going for number 4 this weekend. Let's go. Raiders plus 3. They're at home. Sunday night football. You heard it right here. Broncos -1.5. If you don't like that, go ahead and take the money line. But I think that's kind of moved up to maybe 2.5. And then my favorite pick of the day, it's a bounce back spot for the Cowboys. Elite offense. Cowboys team total over 29.5. I think they'll easily get a touchdown each quarter and then a field goal here and there. So I like that 29.5 number for the Cowboys team total over. Thanks, guys.
All righty, guys. Let's get into the questions, Wizard, if we can.
Let's go.
We will take our 4 questions of the week before we wrap it up for you guys. So we appreciate the questions here. Odell Beckham. Yeah, they're really good. I don't know who gave them, but Odell Beckham is reported to join the LA Rams. will he have a major impact for the Rams? Alpha, you are all about the Odell Beckham news today. We'll start with you.
First of all, I want to say that I am not an Odell fan. I'm a New York Giants fan, so that means I cannot like this guy. But he's an absolutely fantastic football player when he can get the ball in open space. Baker clearly didn't do a good job of doing that for him in this offense. He will definitely not have all the coverage on him like he had in Cleveland. I think he will have a major impact in LA.
Wow.
A major impact in LA.
I agree.
And I don't like the guy.
I mean, let's be honest. The Rams have, in terms of their receivers, like the number one dude in the end zone is Jared Cook.
Yeah, but Cooper Kupp is a beast.
Is the best receiver.
He is a beast.
Well, I'm speaking from a tight end. Usually tight ends aren't putting up numbers like wide receivers. So, big up to Cooper.
I'll just play contrarian here. I'll argue against Alpha and my boy Sammy Adams. I think Odell was a crazy, once in a generation type wide receiver talent when he first bursted on the scene in New York. There's a lot of one-handed catches, but I think his athleticism is gone, whether that's age or that's injuries. He's still good. He still has the hands. He's still going to be able to separate from people. But those miraculous catches that you see in the end zone, or, that crazy warm-up that he used to do, and then NBC would put like wedding music to it because it was so pretty. I don't see it. But I will say this. The argument is that it was between them and the Packers.
And the Saints. And the Saints.
I also wasn't.
He chose the Rams. He chose the Rams because Coach Sean McVay basically gave up a blueprint of how they're going to integrate him into the offense. If you believe in that, then yeah, he's going to be a big influence. I just don't know if he still has it in him.
Yeah,
I agree.
What I was saying though was that if you have Cooper Kupp, you have Jared Cook, who's crushing it in the red zone, and then Odell, depending on his attitude and how they play him in LA, is going to be a toss-up. But he's a big distraction for a secondary. So, that could just open up the field. And this could be a great move by Sean McVay to open up the field, to have people actually clock in on Odell to leave, Cooper Kupp and Jared Cook wide open. So I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I wasn't super high on it either, so I was kind of like AC. I don't know what he'll be there because they already have two great receivers in Woods and Kupp, and they love Van Jefferson there. So he could almost become the four because they also use Tyler Higbee, the tight end, a ton.
Higbee's been very good. Good.
He's been great this year. I don't think he'll make – I think it's like a sexy name, but I don't think it'll be it'll transition to the field, but we shall see. If I wanted him to go to the Packers, I think he would have been the 2 on the Packers. I think he could have had a much, much bigger impact. But let's move on. Wizard 2, question number 2, please. All right, guys. Is there a noticeable shift in power from AFC to NFC this year? AC, we'll start with you.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think the AFC right now is wide open, especially after Buffalo's loss last week. The Steelers, I don't know. Big Ben is not going to win in the playoffs. Sorry, Steelers fans. You still have the Patriots, who's on the come up, but I don't think they're ready yet. Chiefs defense, you guys already know how I feel about them. But the NFC, they are loaded. Not only the defending champs and the Bucks,
and
but
the Giants.
The Giants are a great city, but not a good football team there in New York. But honestly, like the Cardinals are good, the Rams are good, Packers obviously. Aaron Rodgers will always be in the discussion in the playoffs. The Bucks, like I mentioned, and honestly, I know I'm a little homer here, but all Dallas needs is a competent defense. They just need an average, 15 to 20 ranked defense, and that offense will be good enough to win 12 to 13 games. So Dallas is always going to be in the discussion as well.
I think it's more for the AFC on the downward swing, and whether or not that comes back, in the second half of the season, we'll see. But there has definitely been a shift. AFC, if AFC at it, ECF, you're looking at a couple big drops on the stock market.
Absolutely.
And the NFC is, proving like the Cardinals without their absolute ace behind like playing QB and without what's his name? He transferred from Houston to Arizona. Wide receiver.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, so with both of them on the sidelines and for them to beat them in a very, very strong way was impressive. So I think when those dudes get healthy, that might be the team to beat.
Yeah, definitely could be. Definitely could be. Well, let's shift over to the third question, Wizard. All right, guys, is Dallas a top team or are they frauds? I'll take the reins on this one, guys. I think Dallas is one of the best teams in the NFL. It pains me to say it as a New York Giants fan, but Dallas has all the tools. As the analytics capper said, if they can get that defense rolling and really get a defense there, they are a top team. Analytics capper, what do you feel about your team, Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas is good. I mean, Dak Prescott is running away as the comeback player of the year. I think he's one of the favorites for MVP as well. I think top 5 odds. Honestly, like I said, if this defense can continue to be, situational, if they can get turnovers, if they can score on defense, I think it just makes that team so much better. The one thing that is lacking for that team is the return game.
Absolutely.
I think Jimmy Johnson said it best. There's 3 phases to football, right? Offense, defense, and special teams. And right now, only 2 of those things are really clicking for Dallas. If they want to make the Super Bowl or be contenders, they need to make sure to firm up that special teams as well.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I think the Cowboys will be peachy keen by the end of the year. After the embarrassing week 9 loss, I think, as a team, you have to, without coaches, you have to go and figure out what you guys did right and wrong. Not watching tape, you got to kind of get into each other. And I think they've been showing that. It was obviously a terrible week last week. No one would ever have expected the Broncos to play that well. But I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be totally great. They're going to be fine. I think this is an enormous bounce back week. I didn't put it on my slate, but I will definitely be clocking in on AC's boys.
All right,
Absolutely.
Dead Press, go ahead and close us out with the final question of the day.
Yes, sir. Yeah, let's get to that last question here. Wizard, please. Is Cam Newton's return to the Panthers move the needle for you guys? I say no. I mean,
No.
A couple books tweeted this out. Their odds stay exactly the same for literally everything. So
That must suck. That must suck if you're Cam Newton. You go back to the team that drafted you. You have all this hoopla. You get $10 million, by the way, to come back to the team, while Sam Darnold is getting paid $900K, which is crazy. But anyways, he comes back and nothing changes. Your Super Bowls,
It's a
odds are
publicity
the same.
It's a publicity stunt. They're doing it for fans.
It's a move.
They're doing it for the fans. That's all it is.
That is it for the questions. Don't know what we will close out here. Right, guys? We have anything left?
Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Please check us out on YouTube, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Week 10, everybody, good luck on your bets. And most importantly, everybody, happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much who served, have served, and will serve in the future. We owe you guys everything.
Thank you, guys.
You guys, take care.